podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks, yes, say it with me, 200 radio stations coast to coast, on Saturday, August 22nd, 2020. It's episode 1721. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast comes to you from TWiT's LastPass Studios. Now, you're focused on security, but are your employees? LastPass can ensure they are by making access and authentication seamless, whether employees are working in the office or remotely. Visit lastpass.com/twit to learn more. This episode of The Tech Guy is brought to you by Adobe Sign. Business needs to keep moving, whether people are working together or apart. With Adobe Sign, working remote actually works. Learn more about Adobe Sign and what it can do for you and your business at adobe.com/businessmoves. And by Masterclass. Online classes taught by the world's greatest minds. Get unlimited access to every masterclass, and as a listener, you'll get 15% off an annual membership with the annual All Access Pass. Go to masterclass.com/twit. Well, hey, how are you today? Yeah, it's Tech Guy time. Leo Laporte here. I am your tech guy on the radio, the guy who talks and helps you with computers and the internet, home theater, and digital photography, and smartphones, and smartwatches. You know, all that jazz. 8888, ask Leo, the phone number. That's the phone number. 8888, ask Leo. We got a website. Yes, we do. I'm very proud of it. It's techguylabs.com. And the only reason I mention that is not to try to make any money off of you, because it's free, so I don't. It's wide open, always available, no sign-up necessary. But I mention it because if this is the place to go, if you hear something on the show and you go, what, huh? You don't have to scramble to write it down. You will find it on the website. That's where we put it. techguylabs.com. No sign-up necessary. Don't even want your email address. Keep your email address. We also have a chat room. Fun group of people in there. A little more complicated. There's a little more sophisticated for the people who are sophisticated. You might want to go to techguylabs.com to get the link. That's the website. Or if you can remember this, irc.twit.tv. You can do it in your browser, but this is based on an old school kind of chat. Oh, before there was Facebook Messenger, before there was Discord, before there was Slack and Microsoft Teams, there was something called Internet Relay Chat. It actually predates the World Wide Web, and we still use it. I've been using it for the radio show since, I think, 1992. So, I don't know, how long is that? 27 years, 28 years, long time. Long time, and it hasn't changed a bit. It's just text, just a bunch of rambling text. I don't know. Is there anybody in the chat room? Is there anybody who's been here since 1992? I don't think so. Except me. I'm still here, but everybody else, I think, there's turnover. Nobody stays in there forever. Have you heard about vishing? V-I-S-H-I-N-G. First, there was phishing with a P-H. That was emails that were targeted, cleverly crafted to look like your bank or, your credit card company or something, to look exactly like that and say, here, click this link. There's a problem with your account. And then it takes you to a page that looks just like your bank's page, and you log in, and boom, you gave the bad guys your password. Whoops. That's called phishing. Then there's spear phishing. The security industry is nothing if not adept at making up corny names for these attacks. Spear phishing is targeted phishing aimed at a company or individuals. So, and there's been a lot of that lately. That's how ransomware usually starts, as an attack. It's along the lines of, Dear Smithers, this is your boss. Please open this spreadsheet and have it ready for me in the morning. Excellent. And then Smithers goes, oh, yes, sir. Oh, boy, the boss wants me to do something for the morning. Opens a spreadsheet, except it wasn't from the boss, and it's not a spreadsheet. It's malware, and the boss is really going to be mad when he finds out what happened. That's spear phishing. Now there's vishing. I don't like this name at all, but the FBI and the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, I never even heard of them. That's another thing the tech industry is really good at, making up new acronyms. CISA on Thursday issued a joint alert. Warning, against a growing threat from voice phishing. They call vishing, V-I-S-H-I-N-G. These are targeted attacks, so really it's voice spear phishing or phishing. You can actually get this as a service. Brian Krebs on his great blog on Wednesday posted an article about companies that do this as a service. One increasingly brazen group of crooks is taking your standard phishing attack to the next level, marketing a voice phishing attack that uses service, really. It's a service that uses a combination of one-on-one phone calls and custom phishing sites. What are they going for? Custom phishing sites to steal VPN credentials. And this works pretty well because, remember, your employees, many of them are at home. You may be at home. If you're lucky, you're working from home. If you're not, you're just watching Gilligan's Island reruns. But if you are working from home, you're probably using a VPN to log into the company network, right? So they call up and they say, hi, this is John. I'm over here at your company IT department. And your company would like to check. We're going to move you to a new VPN service. So, says John, I need you to tell me your login and VPN credentials for your old VPN service so we can move you over with the same password. Oh, sure, John. That login is Joey at yourcompany.com, and the password's monkey124. Clever, huh? 124. Oh, that's great. Hey, I'm seeing in a second factor authentication. Is that code 104962? Oh, no, John. It's let me look. No, it's 437897. Oh, well, we'll have to fix that. All right, citizen. Thank you for your service to your company, and we'll let you know when the new service is online. Meanwhile, the bad guy is immediately logged into your VPN and is now wandering your corporate network looking for stuff to do. Over the past 6 months, according to Brian, the criminals responsible have created dozens, if not hundreds, of phishing pages targeting some of the world's biggest corporations. For now, they're going after companies in financial, telecommunications, and social media. Because of the coronavirus, we have, companies that are with workers at home using these VPNs, and so this is great. And so they'll give you, they might even say, John, I'm going to give you a page you can go to. And usually it's something like yourcompany-support.com, right? Because your company doesn't actually have a -support site, but now they do. And so you go to that site, and look, lo and behold, looks exactly like your company's login. Your company portal. And you give it all that stuff. You either give it over the phone or you get them. Spear vishing. I only mention this just to warn you if you're working at home to really take this stuff seriously. Your boss will thank you. And be really, really careful about giving out information like that to anybody who calls you or sends you to a website. Just be super careful. Man, it's just terrifying. As the owner of a small business myself, it's so worrisome. And I go to our IT guy and I say, are we okay? Every week I say, Russell, are we okay? He says, we're okay, boss. And they go, thank you. Russell does not sound like that. Yeah, boss, we're good. Okay. I'm pleased to hear it. There is no length the bad guys will not go to get you. Get you. So I want to, as a public service, just wanted to pass that along. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number, 888-827-5536. We've been subject to this for years where people call up and say, hi, this is Microsoft Windows calling, and we see there's a problem on your computer. Can we get in there and fix it? And I still get calls. I got a call last week from somebody who said, yeah, my auntie fell for this, and now I'm worried. Don't fall for this. People don't call you. People don't email you. And if they do, call them. Say, can I get your number and I'll call you back and make sure it's your real IT person, not somebody who's vishing. I'm vishing that you would give me your credentials, please. That's what I'm vishing for. 8888 Ask Leo. You can call that number from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada toll free. If you're outside that area, you can still call because just use Skype out or something like that. You can vish me. Call me and ask for my credentials. See what happens. 8888 Ask Leo. It's a miracle. She's back. Every time I look over and I see Kim Schaffer here, I go, it's a miracle. She's the unbreakable phone angel. We try every week, but no, you just can't break Kimmy Schaffer. Hello,
Bring
Kim.
it on, 2020. What else you got for me?
Holy cow. So we had lightning storms last week.
With a lot of rain. Well, not a lot.
No,
but
a little rain, but weird.
Rain.
All of that's weird in arid California. We don't usually get anything like that in the summer. And there were 10,000 plus lightning strikes. Many of them started fires, which have been burning ever since.
And now we're surrounded, literally.
And we are kind of in a little culvert here at the studio. There's nothing but smoke in the air and fires all around us.
There's nowhere to escape to because they are
Really?
north, south, east, and west. They're everywhere.
There's no escape route? We need a helicopter to get out of here? Oh, man.
You might get out, but
I think we're all right. I think we're all right.
I think we're okay. It's just, it's devastating and sad that this is something that we've now become accustomed to dealing with every single year.
Terrible. So. And I think 110,000 people evacuated from their homes. 6 deaths, 600 buildings burned, homes burned, many hundreds of thousands displaced. It's just,
we're all supposed to be staying home, but they have to go somewhere, and so now they're going to go to shelters.
This is
this is a very bad Stephen
one thing
King
after
novel.
another. Anyway, we're still here. We're going to hang in there.
Right.
But I did ask JB Rockman and Jammer B to tune up the helicopter in case.
JB Rockman. Okay, now I know his handle. I didn't know that.
JB Rockman is tuning up
helicopter.
the TWiT helicopter,
Sweet.
shining up the logo on the side, and we'll be if we need to, we can get out of here.
All right.
Holy cow! JB, is he saying he lost the keys?
He said, just don't call me a nitwit.
No, I promise. I saved that for chatters.
How about we go to Carl in Murrieta, California?
How about that? Hey, Carl, Leo Laporte. Thank you, Kim. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Carl. How are you?
I'm just fine. How are you doing, Leo?
I am very well, despite the smoke and the other things.
Yeah, I'm a little bit further south. We don't have much smoke down here.
No, goodness, no, and thank goodness. Stay safe. Stay safe.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, I had a question. I'm an amateur photographer, and I stored all my photos on my old iMac, which is about ready to die, and I'm going to transfer all of my photos onto an external drive. And I also use Lightroom, and so I'm curious as to what drive should I use, and how is that going to affect my Lightroom catalog? Am I going to have to rebuild it from scratch?
No, you can actually back up the catalog too. In fact, you may have noticed that Lightroom offers to do that fairly frequently. You could have turned that off, but I have it backing up every week, once a week, and then checking the integrity at that time. Because the catalog, the catalog doesn't contain the photos. The photos, as you know, are stored separately. But the catalog contains everything else you've done. And so what you want to do is there's a Lightroom folder. You can find that. Inside the folder, you'll see a catalog. And maybe even backups. You can back up that folder. Catalog can get kind of big, but not as big as the photos themselves. It contains thumbnails, not the actual photos. And then make sure you get all the photos. And yeah, that's not a bad idea. In fact, I'd make this a regular process. I run automatic schedules to synchronize these things to external drives, and then I have other processes that back it up to the cloud and so forth. You want, if it's photos, you want multiple copies, because those photos you can never be, retaken. that's
right.
That's it. Right. Those are the only ones that'll be. Because I really would take extra care. I'm going to recommend this. My friend Peter Krogh, who is a photographer, Krogh, has a book called the Digital Asset Management Book. If you're a serious photographer, and he uses Lightroom, so it's the DAM book, D-A-M book, and he just recently updated that to version 3.0 at THEDAMBOOK.com. But he's also, you don't even need the book, because he's also worked with the Library of Congress and the Association of Professional Photographers to create a website for photography workflow. It's called bestworkflow.org. I think that's it. Wait a minute. Let me DP. I forgot the digital photography part. DP Best Workflow. DP. I'm terrible today. Let me start over. dpbestflow.org. That's a great resource. And one of the things he has in there is best practices. And under the best practices, he has a whole article on backup that is the definitive article for photographers on backing up your data. Highly recommend it. It's timely. The reason I groaned when you said Lightroom is Adobe really screwed up with a Lightroom update to iOS. A lot of us use Lightroom on the iPad because it's kind of if you have an iPad Pro, it's a great experience, and it works with your desktop Lightroom, so changes get synchronized and stuff. But Adobe pushed out an update, and I got to warn everybody, be careful, because Adobe pushed out an update to Lightroom that erased every photo and setting that you had on your iOS device if you hadn't been using the Adobe Cloud to back those up. And a lot of people don't because it's expensive. Then Adobe said, "Oh, sorry, yeah, no, can't fix that." So there's a lot of photographers who use Lightroom on iPad who are justifiably upset. So this is why backups are so important. Not only do hard drives fail, but sometimes your software even screws you up.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm going to start. I'm going to get a cloud account, I guess, and some other form. And I just was curious, what do you recommend?
Well, we have a great sponsor, iDrive. It's very affordable. So that's the first place I'd start. What I generally do myself, this is if you have a lot of data and you need a lot of storage. I use what's called a network attached storage device. It's really like a computer, but there's no screen or mouse or keyboard. It's just a box that's on your network, but it looks like a computer. You can log into it from any computer. I use the NAS to back stuff up. It's a 5-drive Synology is the company I use, Synology. I do recommend them. Put this all in the show notes, by the way, techguylabs.com. And the Synology NAS backs up everything. And then I have that back. There's an iDrive version for that, and there's other stuff you can use to back that up to the cloud. This way, I hope I'm safe. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Yeah, this is something that's a really good thing to do. And, of course, now with hurricanes and the East Coast, tornadoes in the Midwest, and fires in the West, backing up to the cloud, this is why you do that, right? Because if my house burned down, I'm not going to take my NAS with me. I'm going to take other things with me. The old days, you'd run and get your photo book, right? But you'd still probably lose photos. My aunt lived in Montecito some years ago during the Montecito fire, and lost everything, all her photos, everything. I mean, I really, I'm this is, for those of us who live in this area, Carl, it's scary.
Yeah, I lived in San Diego about 12 years ago when they had the big fires back there, and we got evacuated. That was a real wake-up call.
Yeah. We got a go bag. It's sitting right by the door. But I got to tell you, my go bag doesn't include hard drives. I got to schlep those around. So that's why the cloud backup, because it will survive, a fire or hurricane or tornado.
Right. Well, I'm going to go with the cloud. I was just looking for something, maybe I could start, dividing, put a year's worth of photos onto a external drive and then, get a new drive each year, just kind of keep things in order.
Yeah, that's what I recommend, and that's what Peter recommends in his DP Blast Flow, is having local, because local is fast and easy to access, but local's also at risk if there's a fire. So you have both. You need local and cloud. He calls it 3-2-1 backup, 3 copies of everything. Two different kinds of storage. At least one of those is in the cloud.
Right. Okay. I'm going to go with that. And maybe you've answered this already somewhere about, should I go with a solid state drive or?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the days of them, I don't think, only in the very earliest days were they less reliable than spinning drives. There is no question in my mind now that they are as reliable, if not more reliable than spinning drives. And their speed differential is vast. The only negative to solid-state drives is they're pricier, but even that's gotten much, much better. They used to be, really expensive. Now they're only expensive.
Right. Yeah.
They're not affordable, but they're.
I don't take that many photos, so
yeah.
I just need a place to keep them, and a small, probably terabyte would be enough.
Yeah, actually, I have photos going back to 2000, 20 years of digital, and that all fits on a terabyte. Yep. Those are the original RAWs. Yeah. So, yeah, unless you're really crazy. I also prune through them as best I can, but right. Yeah. No, I think that's not unreasonable.
Pictures.
Yeah.
Like I've taken pictures of drag racing and some family pictures. And,
yeah, you want to save those. Yeah. You really want to save those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's nice to talk to you, Carl. Stay safe.
Yeah, good talking to you too. Thank you. You be
Take
safe
care.
too.
Thank you. Hey, it's time to tell you about my favorite technology, Adobe Sign. I don't know. You're probably in the same boat. For some reason, I seem to sign a lot of documents, real estate documents. Some of it's associated with work. We recently, when you open a new bank account, we recently rolled over our IRAs and we had to sign a lot of stuff. And the worst thing, and it baffles me that this happens. It's the worst thing. They say they send you an email with a digital copy of the document. So already they got a digital copy. It's worse when they send you. They say, "Oh, we'll mail you one." but that at least I go, okay, well, they didn't have a digital copy. But when they email you one, it's a digital copy. And then they say, print this, sign it, and then fax it back to us. I always makes me scratch my head like, that's secure? No. They ought to be using Adobe Sign. Especially now, right? With everybody, nobody wants to have a face-to-face. Adobe Sign can keep your business moving. Adobe Sign's processed more than 8 billion transactions from millions of signers around the globe, small startups to global businesses, every size company. What's nice is these are e-signatures. They're not only completely legal, in my opinion, they're more, not just my opinion, everybody, as security experts agree, more secure, more reliable than pen and ink signatures. They're certainly more efficient, whether it's permits or construction planning or health services, internal operations inside your company like human resources, procurement, IT. You can make it automatic. Employees can self-serve. You don't have to, you don't have to go to somebody and get a document. It's very easy to do. Employees can easily initiate and track the signing process. And by the way, the things you can do with that you can't do with print and sign, things like enforce deadlines. Final documents are automatically archived, complete with audit trails. You know exactly who saw it when and how they signed it, saving you time, saving you money, and makes it more secure. In fact, it's as secure as you need it to be. Enterprise-grade security and compliance, so you can configure it to be secure enough to meet industry-specific requirements, things like HIPAA and FERPA, GLBA. E-signature processes protect sensitive information. You can be sure they're both legal, and this is important too, they're accessible. That's important. And it's automatic. Adobe automatically enforces the regulatory and policy rules. Legal e-signatures let you choose from a variety of signer identity verification methods if you need it. Things like U.S. government IDs, you can do that. Or you can do certificate-based employee IDs, PIV, CAC cards. It's the best way to do signatures. It turns this old-fashioned... You might as well use a quill pen, with this paper. It turns this old-fashioned process into a modern process. It's better in every single respect. And I love it when I get the Adobe Sign email and says, click here, click here, click here, and you're done. For your signers, it's just like, hallelujah, I'm working with a company in the 21st century. Plus, there's lots of integrations. So if you use Microsoft 365, Salesforce, ServiceNow, Workday, it works with all of those. And there are very good APIs for Adobe Sign, so you can easily integrate it into whatever your workflow is. Adobe Sign has solutions for every kind of company, small businesses to global companies. Keep your business moving with Adobe. Learn more about what Adobe Sign can do for your business. Go to adobe.com/businessmoves because you keep moving with Adobe Sign. Adobe.com. Adobe.com/businessmoves. Business moves with Adobe. And as a signer and a business, thank you. Thank you, Adobe Sign. Oh, he let his hair grow. Beard, too. That's because he knows what is hip. It's time for our home theater guru. I know it's radio, but if you imagine a Santa Claus, that's Scott Wilkinson right there in a nutshell. All needs is he's got the beard, he's got the hair, he's got the ho-ho-ho. Hey, Scott Wilkinson, home theater guru.
Hey, Leo.
It's good to talk to you. He's our home theater geek contributor at Tech Hive. And joins us every week to talk home theater. What's up in your world?
Hey, I just wanted to let you know I was just on a podcast myself the other day.
I've heard of those. I hear they're the next big thing.
They are the next big thing. I was invited onto the regular podcast of an organization called the Hollywood Professional Association, or HPA.
Wow.
So these are the professionals in Hollywood, the editors and the sound designers, the people who are behind the scenes, the camera operators, cinematographers, who make the content that we all enjoy.
Nice.
And their website is hpaonline.com.
Yeah.
And they have a podcast series called Critical Conversations.
It ought to be really well produced.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And it is. It is.
It ought to sound so good.
Yeah, exactly right. And they had me on a couple weeks ago, and it just got posted. So I wanted to let people know about it because it was a very nice conversation I had with the host, Mark Chiolis. And he asked me a bunch of questions. We talked a lot about virtual trade shows and conferences, like you and I talked about last week. And what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages? Well, the advantage is you're not going to catch COVID, or any other, the CES crud that we often get every year. And you can catch presentations after the fact, and you don't have to get up at stupid o'clock to go to a press conference. You can just watch it anytime you want.
I heard the Democrats were so happy with the convention last week. They're thinking of doing that every 4 years from now on, just doing the whole thing online. The Zoom convention.
Exactly.
The world has changed so much, hasn't it?
Yeah, it really has.
It's wild.
It really has. The disadvantage, though, and I pointed this out, and I think I pointed out with you, is there is no opportunity for chance discovery.
You don't get to breathe on each other. Oh, chance discovery. Yeah.
Of technologies and so on.
Serendipity is the missing key.
Serendipity, yes. Yeah. And the other big disadvantage is not seeing your buddies face to face that you only see once a year or twice a year at these conventions, Yeah. So that is a disadvantage. But overall, it was a great conversation. One of the things that they asked me that I wanted to just make sure I mentioned here was they asked me, what are the 10 or the 3 things in the last 10 years that have been most impactful in the entertainment industry or in video in particular for me. and it was high dynamic range. We've talked about that many times. I think that's by far the biggest improvement in picture quality that we've seen in the last 5 years. High frame rate, which is much less well known or accepted or used. The Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk and Gemini Man, Ang Lee shooting at high frame rates. The new Avatar movies should be at a high frame rate too. So we'll see how well that is accepted. I think it looks great. Some people don't. And the third one was immersive audio. Having the sound around you and overhead, I think, is a really, really big improvement over the experience of pre-recorded, played back entertainment. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Here's I just want to show you, because somebody in the chat room gave me this link to the Facebook post of William Rivers Pitt, who posted a picture of Glenn Weiss, the production manager of the DNC, and because he did it from his living room. And here he is sitting in front of a card table with a bunch of screens. He did the whole thing. You could see the Emmy Awards on the wall. This guy's the real deal.
Yeah,
producing the DNC from his house. From his house, he's obviously the TD or the technical director. He's not pushing. He doesn't look like he has to push buttons. He just talks. But that's pretty amazing. That is pretty amazing. It
really is. It looks like a video production studio, really.
Yeah.
In his living room.
Well, it looks like my living room a little bit, but a little similar. And, if I showed you my over the shoulder here, I have almost as many screens going. Anyway, that's cool. Right. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think we're going to. Oh, he is director. All right. It says production manager, but
it's a new world, and it may very well continue after COVID is done and we have a vaccine and so on and so on.
Yeah. Well, we certainly have figured out how to do it now, anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So this was a really interesting conversation, and I encourage people to check it out because there was lots of cool stuff. Mark Shubin, one of the bigwigs at HPA, came on and asked me, how do you tell when you're at a CES, how do you tell what technology is going to be a failure? And he used the example of 3D.
I knew that was a failure out of the box, but I might have been the only one.
You really did. It's true.
It's hard. People in my business, our business, we do it because we love technology, right? I don't know about you.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. That's why I'm in this business. Yeah.
So we're generally cheerleaders, and it's one of the things I've trained myself. I've been doing this for 30 years. One of the things I've trained myself to do is to really try not to be a cheerleader, but nor to be negative. I've worked with journalists who are cynical, and they're more often right than wrong when they say, "Oh, that'll never work. That'll never work." But I don't try not to be on that side either. But it's hard to know.
It's hard.
Sometimes for instance, I'm very excited about this new Microsoft Duo phone. Everybody's laughing at me. Mm-hmm. And I could well be wrong, but I just like the idea of a 2-screen phone. We'll see. It's crazy. We'll see. So, but I never want to lose my wide-eyed wonder and joy at the tech industry. But it's also important not
tempered.
to. Tempered.
Ooh,
I like that word.
With a little skepticism.
I am tempered.
I'll tell you one thing that I poo-pooed instantly as soon as I saw it was curved screens.
You were right. I have one. You were right.
Yeah.
The only thing they really do is that they're really excellent at making sure that any reflections just spread over the whole screen.
Right, exactly.
No matter what. And you can't tilt the screen or anything. It's just, I have a window in the room with my curved screen, and there's just a line across the screen no matter what angle. You can't do anything.
It's just bad. Now, as a computer monitor, it may be okay if you're close enough to it and you don't have a light source.
Just no backlight. Yeah, that's the key.
Then it might be okay.
Yeah.
So like I said, it was a very interesting conversation. Went 40 or 50 minutes, something like that. It was funny to be on the other end too, because I used to have a podcast on the TWiT network for 8 years, and I was the interviewer. Now I'm the interviewee, and it was an interesting experience to be on the other end.
It's always a good thing for interviewers to do that once in a while, just to remind us. So HPAonline.com is the Hollywood Professional Association. And the podcast is on there somewhere.
Yes.
Right.
It should be rotating in the carousel on the top of the page right about
good.
now.
Oh, I see it. Look, there's a picture of you. Oh,
in your studio.
Sitting in my seat. What are you doing there? Get out of my seat. That's hysterical. That's hysterical. No, I'm really glad. That's really great. That's so cute. That's so cute.
They cut off the part I was talking to Dick DeBartolo in that shot.
Oh, nice. You were doing the show.
I was subbing for you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Good. HPAonline.org. Scott Wilkinson, he is our home theater geek. Joins us every week at this time. You can find his work too at techhive.com. Thank you, Scott.
Bet.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More calls coming up. All right, Scotty. You are on, my friend.
Thank you so very much.
Let me get your special screen going here.
The clock. Yes, Mike B, I am out of sync.
Mike B. Hey, you came back, Mike. I'm sorry. Please never leave again. Never leave. Oh, I'm so glad to see Mike back. I thought we lost him. We thought we lost you, Mike. All right. Yeah, you're out of sync. You have Chrome running or anything?
No.
I don't care. It's a radio show. It's really not
right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I rebooted my computer just before. I do that every week now. I reboot the computer.
Yeah. This Skype. Skype is
sometimes
just a junk.
Yeah. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it's not a problem. But anyway, yeah. Sorry about that, everybody. Yes. Mike B was a chunky monkey.
Wait, what?
I'm a funky monkey.
Chunky monkey. He was chunky _ monkey, and then there's a chunky without an underscore. Were you both?
Oh! That was a screen name. I was just thought he was just
very confusing. Very confusing. Yeah.
Mike Heiss, hey Mike, how you doing? Unintended COVID artifact. My beard is longer than Shubin's. It wasn't at HPA conference in February, the last conference I went to and may ever go to. He usually has a very long beard. And I didn't notice that it was short during our conversation in the podcast. That's interesting. Yeah, Twisted Mister. Is lip sync a symptom of COVID? I don't think so.
It better not be. I've lost
really?
all taste and smell, but my lips are in sync.
So, hey there, everybody. Mike Kai said he was surprised at some of the questions. I've thought the HPA guys would have known that stuff. Well, I'm sure they do. They were just wanting my opinion on it. You know, I did that a lot on Home Theater Geeks. I posed questions to my guests that I knew the answers to, or at least my answers, but I wanted to hear their answers. So I'm sure that's what they were doing.
Yes. That's the whole art of interviewing.
Exactly.
I hate it when interviewers spend the whole time showing off how much they know. It drives me nuts.
Exactly. And these guys were great at it, actually. Mark Chiolis is a very good interviewer. I was kind of surprised, actually, that I think he had a window or a glass door behind him, and it was during the day, and yet he was pretty well lit.
He knew
and
how
that
to do it. That's why. He knew how to light it.
Exactly.
He had a fill light.
Yeah, exactly. It was good. I am not using Chrome. I do not have Chrome running. I don't on this computer at all. I do on my desktop only because that's where I put that's where I run what's it called? My time tracking software, Clockify. You know, I track the time I spend on many different projects, and I use Clockify, and I don't know, I fell into using it on Chrome, and that's the only thing I do on Chrome is run Clockify. And I don't run it on this laptop that I'm using right now for this. Let's see. Mike Heiss, yes, great cast. Thank you so much. I did get some very nice feedback from people. Can
you stick around for the top?
Yep, happy to.
Thank you, sir. Just glad to be here. One more day. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Alan is on the line from Charlton, Mass. Hello, Alan.
Hello, Leo.
Welcome.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I think we're all getting through this very nicely.
Yeah, we've kind of settled into that low hum of one day sliding into another.
It's been a long year.
Yeah.
That brings me actually to the point I was calling about, which is photos. And it ties back to your other caller regarding backup of photos and so forth. I try to use a 3-2-1 strategy.
Good.
I have Synology on my laptop here is attached to Synology right now. My problem is trying to get my photos from my Pixel 3a phone.
Yeah.
And actually, the call I've been on here for a while, so I actually have it solved right now, and I have it.
That's why we leave you on hold so long. You probably noticed that. We figure by the time you get on the air, you'll have figured it out.
Right. Well, I figured out in the past too, but there's a whole bunch of issues, and Google makes it very easy to back up to Google Cloud. Oh, they love that.
Yeah, and that's why Google Photos for any Android device, Google Photos is the go-to choice for backup. It doesn't back up unless it used to when you bought a Pixel phone, you'd get they'd back up full quality, but they've stopped doing that. So now you get a JPEG of the originals. That's fine for phone pictures, but I even use it for desktop. I use it for everything. So I have something like 70,000 photos on Google Photos, and that storage is free. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, they do the same thing with originals. So it's not the end of the world to have both on your 3A. And just, you could turn a setting on in both apps, the Amazon Photos app and the Google Photos app, that says, hey, back up everything I take. It's kind of a no-brainer. Then you don't have to think about it. And it's nice to have two places to do that too.
Well, I understand that's the strategy that Google wants and Apple wants. I do have Amazon Prime as well.
So you're set, yeah.
Except I'm not sure I really want to keep them in the cloud. And that's what my strategy is. I used to have, online storage backup through one of your previous sponsors. And it was good. I did it for my father who was old and needed help.
Yeah, I'm sure was Carbonite, and
yes.
iDrive, our current sponsor, very similar. The whole idea is for non-sophisticated users, just having something you put on the computer and then you forget about it, but it's always backing up, is really a lifesaver because you don't have to think about it. But then when the day comes that you need it, oh, look, all this time I've been backing up, I didn't really have to think about it. I asked my dad once, how do you back up, Dad? He said, well, every once in a while when I think about it, I put in a USB thumb drive and back up to that. That's not a good long-term strategy because you'll forget. And inevitably the hard drive will die, when you just, tomorrow I'll back up, and then it dies. So.
Well, I like to control the backup myself, though, particularly with ransomware, so I can have multiple offline backups.
Yeah, that's where iDrive has an advantage over a lot of these solutions, and I don't want to give them a free ad, but I'm going to, because they do snapshots. So here's the problem with ransomware and backup. There's two, really. One is if a backup is live, like it's always running, then you'll back up the encrypted files pretty quickly within a short amount of time after the ransomware hits, which means you may not have a good backup. That's problem number one. We call that live backups, and live backups are not good backups for ransomware. Problem number two, which is more recent, and it doesn't affect individuals, but it will affect a big business, is one of the things bad guys now like to do, and this happens almost all the time now, is they get on your network, but they don't trigger the ransomware right away. They take a few months to wander around and make sure that they've got ransomware, they've got the malware on every backup as well. They want to make sure that when they trigger it, you have no recourse. There's no backups. Furthermore, and this happened to Canon recently, they were hit by ransomware. They will exfiltrate anything they can use to blackmail you with, things like customer data. They'll download it. And then if you don't pay the ransom, You say, well, I'm okay. I got backups. They say, yeah, but do you know that we have all your data and we're about to publish it? So, and that's what happened to Canon. So they've gotten more and more nefarious. They're evil people. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're backing up, to make sure that you have some sort of system that prevents the encrypted data from being backed up on top of the good data. Snapshots is the term that's commonly used. It's kind of like Windows. You may remember Windows restore points, where you could go back in time. You could say, well, all right, that data is encrypted, but what about the data from the day before? Is that encrypted too? And you can actually go back. Versioning is another way to describe that. And that, always look for versioning or snapshots, because that is the gold standard for cloud backup.
And that's what I'm trying to do with my photos, because I do have a lot of photos and other files, but I think one of the things we create the most of is actually photos.
Yeah.
People worry about what's been backed up. You create a couple of Word documents. The photos, especially the big cameras, they take a lot of space.
Well, here I recently had occasion, because I realized I didn't have copies locally of most of the phone photos. And most honestly, even though I use nice professional cameras, most of the photos I want are from my camera phone these days.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I realized that. So I went to Google. Now, one of the things Google does that's fantastic is called Google Takeout. You go to takeout.google.com, and you will see that you can download anything that you have put on Google. Your location history, your search history, but also all the photos on Google Photos. You can download them. They come in zip files. They will take some massaging to get.
I did that as well. It is huge.
It's huge. It's everything. It's huge. But that's amazing that they give that away. It's huge. You don't charge you for that. Doesn't count against your Google Drive quota. So that's a pretty generous gift Google's giving everybody. You might want to consider why they do that. My opinion is they do that because all those photos help it develop its artificial intelligence, especially with image recognition.
So is that really anonymous? That's one of my questions.
It's anonymous. Yeah, it's anonymous as far as I can tell. One of the things about Google, for all their flaws, they really understand people's concern about this stuff, and they get plenty from just having those photos. You know, that's why, and you get the benefit of it. It's not like they keep it themselves. You can type in dogs in your Google Photos search and get every picture you ever took of a dog. There'll be a few raccoons in there. It's not perfect, but that's pretty amazing. That's what they're doing. They're training artificial intelligences for image recognition using all those billions of images they have from people like you and me who upload. I don't mind that. They're not attaching my name to it or your name to it. It's not in there. They don't need to. There's no benefit to them for that. So,
well, I mean, there isn't. What about in terms of AI? And at some point, if they want to put it, face databases together, say they have thousands of your image. Of course, you're a public person, so you have a lot of images out there.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about that. If you search for me, you'll find pictures that are real, pictures that are not real. You'll find all sorts of stuff. Yeah, I mean, okay, I can give you the two scenarios that maybe would be worrisome. One is marketing, and Google's already said we don't use these for marketing, but they could look at let me see what stuff he has in his house, and good, well, we know he that's an old refrigerator, we should start advertising new refrigerators. That would be one use. Even if they did that, they say they don't, and I believe them, but even if they did that, it wouldn't be too annoying to me. The more serious one is if you get a rogue government. If I were in China right now, I might not use Google Photos. They could then, use that information against you. I think we could trust the U.S. government is probably not going to do that. So I'm not too worried about that. Those are the two negative scenarios. And if you don't like it, we should talk about this at some point. There are non-cloud ways to do this. It's just a little harder. Yeah, it's a longer conversation, but I think a worthwhile one. And sometime we'll do this about if you don't want to have cloud. Actually, I'm going to do a hands-on Mac today about a service I really like. It's open source, it's free, and it doesn't use the cloud. It's called SyncThing. It only makes sense if you have multiple systems in multiple locations. But if you do, that's not a bad way to do this without storing anything on anybody's cloud. So that's another thing you might want to take a look at. SyncThing.
That sounds good. Yeah.
It's I've been using it for quite a while. I didn't want to recommend it until I was really sure, but now I am. It's syncthing.net. They're open source. They're encrypted. And it just doesn't use the cloud anywhere. It just synchronizes one device to another device. So if you have a computer at work or a vacation home and a computer at home, if you have it on another location, having them sync the photos would be effectively cloud backup. So
I do have two places, and I did think about putting like, for example, my Synology in two different locations. Right now, I'm taking backups of my Synology and putting them in a safe deposit box, so I can move.
And I think that's the best. Yeah, it's just a pain in the ass.
It is a pain in the ass.
One thing Synology will do, and this is what I use with Synology, using its Hyper Backup app, if you have another Synology in a location, it will sync them. So I have a Synology here and a Synology at home. This is not a pain in the ass, but it's really expensive because now you have two Synologies. But they're mirrored. So that's a really good way to do it too. But again, you got to think about this ransomware issue, because you'll be mirroring the ransomware if you're not careful. There are ways.
It's physical what I'm doing now, where I'm actually doing the manual backup to USB drives.
Yeah, as long as you do it.
Separated.
As long as you do it. Yeah. No, that's ideal. Remember, I don't know if you remember what Steve Gibson used to talk about. I got to run because we got to let Scott have his time. But you remember Steve Gibson used to talk about mailing CDs to his mom. Of his data. And mom would say, "What's this?" He said, "Don't worry about it, Mom. Just put it somewhere safe." It's a little analog, but it worked. Hey, I got to run, Alan. It's always a pleasure.
For his program.
Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye. Yeah, it was a good plug for his program. Sorry, Scott. All yours. Take it away.
No problemo. So let's see. Bill in Lodi had a question that I don't quite understand. I think I do, but I'm not 100%. I have to go from a 5.1.1 to a 3.1.1 when I move. First of all, I don't know what a 5.1.1 is. I guess that's one Atmos speaker overhead. I never heard of that, but it'd be weird, but okay. I think that's you probably mean 5.1 to 3.1. On my receiver, can I connect the back left surround post with the left front channel, and the same with the rights, so I can hear the surround channel mixed with the front speakers? I'm not 100% sure I understand what you mean, but from what I think I understand, that would be a very bad idea. You do not want to mix by just connecting together the outputs from two different channels on a receiver. So your left front and your left surround, you don't want to just sort of connect them together and send them to one speaker. That would be very bad. That would burn things up. What you need to do that is a mixer, and not only that, a speaker level mixer. I'm not even sure how readily you could get that. Depending on the receiver, and I want to know what kind of receiver you have. First of all, it may very well be that if you specify in the settings of the receiver that you don't have surround speakers, it may very well route the surround channels into the front speakers internally. I suspect that's probably what it would do if it's a fairly modern receiver. That would be the thing to do. Do not, whatever you do not connect two different speaker outputs to the same speaker. Just like that. It would be bad. Yeah, it looks like a badly dubbed movie. Sorry about that, everybody. K. Woods, good way to smoke test the equipment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been watching too many kung fu movies. Anybody remember Woody Allen's What's Up, Tiger Lily? I thought that was hilarious. I'm not usually a big Woody Allen fan, But I thought that was hilarious. He basically dubbed a Japanese kung fu movie with comedy dialogue. Joe says, it's okay, this is a radio show. Yes, it's true, but what we're doing now is streaming with video. And I'm a perfectionist. I want it to be good. Sorry, it's not. Let's see. Mike B says, the guy who did the DNC production was in communication with teams elsewhere producing it. The actual product came from a remote facility. Okay, that's good. Dr. Mom Grandma, my fave Woody Allen movie was Radio Days. Not too strange, but a nice walk down memory lane. I never saw that one, actually. So, yeah, I'll check that one out. Yeah, Mike B, this is from a TV producer who does remotes. Yeah, exactly. We're going to be doing that for our Jewish High Holidays, the Kol Nidra program, on September 27th. That's going to have a lot of pre-recorded stuff, but it's going to have a lot of live stuff too. And we've got an actual TV producer who's going to be doing the switching and the queuing and all that stuff. So that's, I think, going to be good. Rintaro, yeah, Loquacious. His movies were odd. I have seen a few. Yeah, let me see. What else of his did I like? I can't think of any at the moment. What did he? I don't think he did the Casino Royale, but he was in it. Not the regular James Bond, but the one with
Casino
with
Royale.
Allen.
He was one of many James Bonds. Remember,
Yes.
that was the whole conceit of that stupid movie?
Yes.
Is that they were all James Bond?
They were all James Bond. Yes, exactly. It was hilarious. Mel Brooks. Now there's a funny movie guy.
There's a legend.
Blazing Saddles was one of my favorite movies.
You know,
of all
now when
time.
they air Blazing Saddles,
they have to do some sort of
they say, you're going to hear a lot of the N-word on here. It was a parody of racism at the time.
Yep.
They have to do this now.
Yep. I mean, that's okay with me.
It's fine with me. I think it's important to put it in context.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Gone with the Wind is.
I tried to watch
obvious.
Spaceballs the other night, but Lisa stopped me. She said, I am not watching Spaceballs. I said, okay, fine.
I thought that was a pretty funny movie too.
I've never seen it.
Really?
Yeah. Scott, have a great week. Stay safe. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all the good stuff, all the tech stuff. And as I was mentioning with Scott, it's there's a balancing act we perform here on the Tech Guy Show between enthusiasm and love for technology, and gosh knows that's why I got into this way back in the late 70s when I got my first personal computer, an Atari. And I realized that if I wanted this as a hobby, and I did, I loved it, that I was going to have to find a way to pay for it because it was expensive. I can't remember what a floppy disk drive for my Atari 800, I think, was $700 or something. It was just, I needed a way to pay for it. So I said, well, I knew, and I remember even out loud saying this to myself. I said, self, I always want to have the latest and greatest stuff. Technology is my thing now, but I need a way to finance this, and that's when I started writing for computer magazines like Byte and InfoWorld, and eventually started doing computer talk shows, call-in shows in the early '90s, and really with a goal to getting to play with the latest and greatest stuff, because I really felt, and I still do, that this is really the cutting edge. It's the most interesting part of our civilization is the innovation at the edge with technology, and that includes space exploration, artificial intelligence. I mean, if you think about it, it's really exciting, interesting stuff. But at the same time, I also said to myself, if I'm going to be a tech journalist, I have to be very careful. It's always a risk when you're in trade journalism, a journalism that covers a single industry, whether it's the federal government or stereo equipment or cars. Sometimes you get in the case of the press covering the federal government, you get inside the beltway syndrome. It becomes so important to you to have access to the people and industries you're covering that you don't want to offend them. You don't want to upset them because that access is everything. And so beltway journalism is often, I think, corrupted in the very process of it, because in order to keep access, you have to keep nice. And you'll see the same thing. I mean, if you read Car and Driver and, car magazines, you'll see the same thing in stereo magazines where it's tricky. You see the same thing in technology, of course. And there are a lot of journalists who are very, tech journalists who are very careful. They don't want to offend, if they're Apple journalists, they don't want to offend Apple. They want those invitations to the Apple events, and Apple's easily offended, by the way, I can tell you personally, very, very quickly and easily take offense. But so all the tech companies do. And so you have to walk a fine line. On the one hand, really loving this stuff and embracing it and being enthusiastic. And most importantly for me, using it as a real user. But you have to remember your constituency. You have to remember who you're representing. And it's not the industry. I don't represent the tech industry. I represent us. We, the users, right? From the user point of view. And that means for me, my way around this is not befriending people who work in the industry, not befriending the publicists. It's very hard not to. That's their job, is become your buddy. They massage you, I don't talk to them. I refuse to. Being very careful about taking loaner products. I don't, whenever possible. Sometimes you have to because there's no other way to get it. But almost always, I'm fortunate we're in a position doing this show where it would be easy for me to call any company and say, I need, send me one of those. I want to talk about it on the radio show, but I won't do it. I just don't want to do it. And fortunately, we make enough money on the radio show. We devote a portion of the budget to buying this stuff, because that way I have the real experience. A, I'm spending my money, sort of, the business's money on this stuff, so I feel the pain. And B, I get to use it for more than a week or two. And to me, most importantly, I'm not going to get a call from a publicist who says, we loaned you that because we were hoping for a review. Where's your review? And why is it so negative? And can you just be a little bit nicer? And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't like that. I don't want that. I've done it, long enough that I don't have to do that anymore. So that's the line. And Scott, I know, walks it. All the journalists I work with walk this line between enthusiasm and love for the innovation and the excitement and the changing world that we're living in because of technology. That's always there. But at the same time, a certain amount of, I like the word Scott used, tempered judgment. So that when you look at something and say, that's not a good idea. This new 2-screen Microsoft Duo phone is a really good example. I see a lot of people saying, that's too expensive. At the same time, I look at it and I go, that's a really interesting idea. And we haven't seen anything new in phones in a long time, right? Phones are all basically the same slab of black glass. That's it. The differences between one phone and another is big, teensy weensy. So when you're seeing something that's kind of new, like the folding phones. Now, the folding phones, I have to say, I was initially intrigued by, but once I saw how janky those folding screens are, I thought, yeah, that's not it. I don't think that's going to be it. The technology's not there. But the Duo from Microsoft, that's interesting because it's 2 screens. That's nothing new. We know OLED screens. With a hinge, yeah, so there's a little bezel, there's a little break in the middle, but I think that's a better way of doing it, more reliable. Anyway, we'll see. So I bought one, spent my own darn money to get one. I'm not talking to Microsoft about it. I'm going to try it and review it. Anyway, it's something to keep in mind when you read reviews, when you listen to people talking about anything. How much in cahoots are they with the subjects of their coverage? What do they have a dog in this hunt? And so I think, and I think you're keeping me honest too. I think that I try really hard to be fair to the companies, but be most importantly, represent us as users and our experience with it. That's my job. 8888 Ask Leo. And I like my job. Thank you for letting me do it. 888-827-5536. My good buddy from Finland, Michigan, that is, G. Scott, or Minnesota, I should say. G. Scott is on the line. Hi, Finland. Hi, G. Scott.
Hi, Leo. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Are there a lot of Finnish people in Finland, Minnesota?
There is, yep. They came straight across,
Nice.
Pretty much same latitude, and they thought, hey, this looks like home. And
The only people who would say it's just not too cold here. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, sorry to hear about your situation.
Oh, Lord, I tell you. But thank you for your sympathy. And fortunately, I'm okay, and people I know are okay, and our studio's okay, but I know so many others who are not. And my heart goes
my
out
wife's
to them.
still in Tahoe. She stayed out there, and she's fighting the smoke and trying to beat the breathing game.
Stay safe, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, indeed. But so a couple weeks ago, I was on chat. Scooter X was recommended. So my question is regarding routers. I've got an ISP Wi-Fi router, and I can get about 20 feet outside my little cabin. I've got about a 600 square foot cabin in the woods up here.
Nice.
And then, I don't know if you remember, I installed septic systems. So then I have an outhouse that's about 75 feet from the house. And, of course, cobbler's kid, you know.
Yeah, well, no, you want to have that a little distant from the home. I understand. There's good reasons for that.
But I'd still like to be able to hit the Wi-Fi. And
So you want a little more carriage out there.
Yeah.
So nominally, Wi-Fi, the current versions of Wi-Fi, 802.11. Actually, we thank goodness they got rid of the A, B, C, A, X, N. They just now call it Wi-Fi 5, which is the current and the newest of Wi-Fi 6. Both cases, they're supposed to go 150 feet. But, and this is something important to remember, Wi-Fi is a line of sight technology. We don't usually think of it that way because in our house there's walls and doors and stuff, including humans, which are terrible for Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi does not go through humans. So Wi-Fi is pretty robust. It gets around it, but that's why Wi-Fi drops out and stuff. Things happen. So some of this will be, if you could put, for instance, a Wi-Fi router in the window and there weren't a metal screen in the window, which I bet there is given bug season in Minnesota, you could, as long as you had line of sight to the outhouse, you should 75 feet shouldn't be a problem. But that's why there are a lot of companies that sell additional antennas, and this is probably your best bet for this, is an external antenna you could put on the outside wall of the house, possibly even something directional, like a Yagi, that would aim at the outhouse or whatever outbuildings you had. Omnidirectional, as you might imagine, spreads the energy out, so it's not as effective as something that aims. But there are a lot of choices for that. There are a couple of places to go for that. My favorite website for all of this is Radiolab. Not Radiolab, that's a podcast. Radiolabs, that's the website. Radiolabs.com. And what they do is they sell Wi-Fi antennas for all purposes. They're experts in this stuff. And so you can look at some of the systems that they offer. They'll even help you design it based on the capabilities you need. So they're going to sell you, all sorts of, they have all kinds of Wi-Fi systems designed to, in fact, I'm looking at one right now on their front page, extend Wi-Fi to garage, barn, shop. They don't mention the outhouse, but so that's, I think the best way to do it is to aim something. Are all the outbuildings in the same area? Are they spread out?
Yeah, I'm probably 50 feet from the house to the garage, and then on the other side of the garage, I got a shed. Like I go out there to pick parts, and if I'm talking to my vendor or something, it'll drop out, and so I'm trying to eliminate that.
You can. This is a great place to go. They have. Just remember that that you need an antenna on both sides because Wi-Fi is both transmitting and receiving, right? So you need to be able to do both on both ends. So you're going to need a receiver as well as a transmitter, and it can add up. But I'm looking at a $100 high-powered client antenna that they have that might be enough just to put that in the outhouse, or put one in each place, and that just boosts their ability to receive the signal. You're going to have to play with it, but there are definitely ways to do this.
How about the mesh? You know, I mean, could I put a satellite in the ground?
No. So mesh doesn't solve your problem.
That doesn't. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I got to take a break. When I come back, we'll talk a little bit about what mesh does versus an antenna. There's a lot. This is complicated, and you know there are people, we call them radio station engineers, who make a living doing this stuff, and it's darn complicated. It is. I often think of it almost as black magic, as voodoo, understanding how all this stuff works. And sometimes even they, I think, feel the same way, which is, move to 3 inches to the right and all of a sudden it's working. Don't touch it. You remember that? You remember that? If you ever had bunny ears, those rabbit ear TV antennas lifting it over your head, tilting it, and your dad says, don't move. That's it. Don't move. I'm getting a perfect reception. Well, Dad, I can't stand here the whole show. You got to. It's like that. Great to talk to you, G. Scott. Hope you're enjoying summer in Minnesota. It's a nice time of year, as long as those giant bugs don't carry you off. Our show today, cough, cough, brought to you by our fine sponsor, Masterclass. You know how I learned how to barbecue? I've just taken the pork butt off. Lisa's taking it off out of our smoker. But you know where I went to learn all about that? Yeah, you got it. Masterclass.com/twit. Masterclass is the place to learn a whole lot of different great things, including barbecue. My favorite barbecue in the whole world in San Antonio, Aaron Franklin's barbecue. It's the one where you got to wait in line all morning just to get a little barbecue in you. Well, Aaron is teaching barbecue on Masterclass. But, you know, it's not just barbecue. I mean, it's incredible. Thomas Keller, the great chef, Gordon Ramsay. Learned fashion from the editor-in-chief of Vogue magazine. She's actually teaching creativity and leadership. And what's great about these classes is they're shot beautifully. They're real classes, 85 of them. Would you like to learn how to direct movies from, Martin Scorsese? Or how to do photography from Annie Leibovitz? There's Aaron Franklin with his barbecue. I tell you, this is the greatest, my favorite place. In fact, if you just can't bear sitting down to yet another Housewives of San Diego or whatever, check out Masterclass. This is something where you sit down and you learn something. The Art of Negotiation with Chris Voss. Gardening from Ron Finley. Carlos Santana teaching the art and soul of guitar. Hans Zimmer teaching film scoring. How would you like to learn the perfect serve with Serena Williams? Lessons range from specifically showing you how to execute a technique to, and I love these masters' insights about their crafts that can be translated across many, many different disciplines and fields. Steph Curry, I'm never going to shoot a three-pointer with the Warriors' Steph Curry, but he really teaches you about discipline and about how to learn. There's something for everyone. It's an immersive learning experience. You can do it on your TV, your Apple TV, or your web page or the phone. We like to watch on the big screen together. It offers and but by the way, before I put in the pork butt, you bet I sat down and watched Aaron Franklin beginning to end. Every class broken down into individual lessons and downloadable materials, 10 to 15 minutes per lesson. So it's very easy to consume a single lesson. You can spread it out. There's downloadable materials, all the topics you could ever imagine. Cooking classes, for instance, come with beautiful downloadable guides, kind of like high-end cookbooks. I just love masterclass.com. Get unlimited access to every masterclass And as a Tech Guy listener, you'll get 15% off an annual membership with the annual All Access Pass. You're going to want to watch every one of them. This is the best TV ever. Masterclass.com/twit. If you're looking for something to watch that will entertain you but also teach, masterclass.com/twit. 15% off the next master class right now. And, look at that. Jake Shimabukuro on how to play ukulele. The greatest ukulele. Look how beautifully these are shot, too, by the way. Ukulele. Jake's amazing. Masterclass.com/twit. 15% off right now on the annual pass. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy, 88. Ask Leo. Jane from Torrance is next. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Leo. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fine, just trying to stay cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm by the beach, but it's still hot. Yeah.
I know how that is. Yeah.
Yes. So I have an iPhone 8 Plus, and I keep getting a message saying no SIM. And several times I've taken it out, put it back in, and it'll last maybe a week or so, and then I'll get the message again saying no SIM, or no SIM installed, and so I can't text and I can't get text.
Yeah,
I can't call.
but you have that little physical SIM, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other day, my wife and I were debating what SIM stands for.
Yeah, what does it stand for?
I only know because we were debating it. I didn't know. Subscriber Identity Module. But actually, that's a good name for it. Because if you think about it, by the way, newer phones are eliminating the SIM card, but on most phones today still have it's a little chip on it. You can see it when you look at it. That says you're you. This is your phone.
Okay.
And so you there's a little drawer I usually keep on my keychain because I do it so often, a little SIM poker that pokes that little hole, pops out the SIM, ejects the SIM tray. You put a SIM in.
I had to use a paper clip.
Yeah, paper clip will do.
Yeah.
Little one, not the thick one.
Right.
And then that's one way you can move to a new phone is you take, as long as it's not locked to a carrier, you can take a new phone, pop the SIM out of the old one, put it in the new one, and you're good to go. But what does happen over time, maybe you've been doing this, is sometimes the SIM is a little loose in that tray.
Oh.
And so if your phone, and this sounds like it, sometimes sees it, sometimes doesn't, it's probably a little loose.
Okay.
So I would use that paper clip, pop out the SIM, and really make sure it's seated in that SIM tray. Every SIM tray I've ever seen, you can really, you know when it's in there. Sometimes you can dislodge it when you're putting the tray back in. So make sure it's really in that tray and carefully slide it back in. And then if it still comes and goes, then it's time to bring it to the phone store. And they'll either give you a new SIM, because SIMs do wear out. They get flaky.
Okay.
You can, and if you don't want to go in, a lot of times you just call and say, I need a new SIM.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll send you one. And sometimes it could be the phone. How old's the phone?
3 years.
Yeah, that's not too old. But it's got contacts. You can see when you look at the SIM, it's just got some copper contacts. If those get corroded either on the SIM or in the phone, maybe it's not making good contact. My guess, I've had this happen. The SIM card's a little loose. That usually reseating it is enough. But if that isn't, then either get a new SIM card or if you want, you bring it to the phone store or repair guy. He can clean those contacts with contact cleaner. It's a little tricky, but he can get in there and do that.
Because this time, actually, I can't get it back in. I mean, not back in the space into the phone, but I can't get the SIM card to fit into the...
You know, you may be warped. It sounds like it's time for a new one. Most of the time, it's $5. Sometimes it's completely free. I think you need a new one. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Yeah, that's... I think it's probably warped if it won't... Oh, goodbye. If it won't sit flat. What'd you say, John? Yeah?
I said I've been nowhere lately, man.
He's been nowhere, everywhere, nowhere. He's Johnny Jet, our travel guy. JohnnyJet.com is his website. This podcast is at JohnnyJet.com/podcast. And I love your Datasaurus t-shirt. The one blessing, you're off the road. You get to be with your beautiful children. He's a new father. You get to spend time with your family. I think that's a great thing.
I mean, every day my baby seems like she's growing up. She just turned 1 last week.
They grow up so fast, and it's so nice to have that time. And you will look back on this and say, that wasn't so bad. I know. I couldn't make any money, but
TikTok video that you need to watch between the commercials.
Yeah.
Of a mother talking about sending her kid to college. And you will cry. I cried just now. I just watched.
You don't. I remember when we brought our firstborn Abby in 2011 to college out back east in New York State. Her mother and I and her brother, we all went out. And we were bawling our eyes out as we drove away. It's the hardest thing in the world. You don't realize it. This morning, I was playing Harry Chapin, The Cat's in the Cradle. When you're coming home, Dad, I don't know when. We'll get together then, boy. And I was like bawling my eyes out saying, I wish I'd spent more time with Henry and Abby. So you cherish this time.
Fortunate.
Yeah.
I actually, speaking of fathers, I just put a flight on hold for the first time since February to go visit my dad next week.
In Florida. Good man.
But
what are you going to do?
Fortunately, I did not make a rookie mistake, and I looked at the weather forecast before I booked it because there's a hurricane coming.
Oh, yeah. That would be a rookie mistake.
On Tuesday, which is when I booked my flight. It was wide open on American Airlines, 777.
Guess why?
There's 52 business class seats. Only 2 were taken.
Yeah,
and I could get a free upgrade. That's why I booked it.
Guess why?
But anyway, always look at the weather no matter where you're going before you book that ticket is a very good tip. And, that's one of the most important things. And by the way, you said you were going to go to Napa this week. I assume you did not go? I did not. I missed the beginning of your show.
So we drove. I didn't say anything. Yeah, Thursday and Friday, my wife and I, for the first time since this started 5 months ago, we thought, we can go. We have a place we love. It's cabins. We can eat only in the room. At least we'll get out in nature and stuff. We drove there on Thursday, and when we parked, the guy with the parking lot to take in our luggage just shook his head and we walked in, and the woman behind the counter wearing a mask and everything. She said, I just got to tell you, we've received 2 warnings from the sheriff that they might evacuate us. I said, oh no. She said, yeah. I said, well, what do you think of the likelihood? She said, well, I wouldn't stick around. So we got back in the car, got the luggage back, drove home. Before we got home, the notice was, they're evacuating that area.
Wow. Did they, I assume they refunded you, no problem.
Well, she said that. I don't know yet. I'll have to check the credit card. I then got calls saying, can you pack your bags? Because they thought we checked in, I guess. Can you pack your bags? We'll come and get them. We want to get you out of here. And then I had a spa treatment booked for the next day. We got a call from them. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that tomorrow. Let's talk. So yeah, I think there's probably nobody there.
It gives me goosebumps. And just this week, by the way, I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but Google Maps did an update where if you do Google an area like Napa or somewhere, it supposedly now will show a huge warning, and it's up to the minute.
Oh, I have to check. I hope it didn't burn down.
Although I just tried it and I didn't see how it worked, but I'll tweet Google's blog right now. It's called Mapping Wildfires.
Sometimes with these rollouts, they don't happen right away. So
I just put it in the chat room and I'll tweet it. But so supposedly you Google whatever area, and if there's fires, they'll warn you to give you obviously to warn you, so make sure nothing crazy happens or tragic. I just put it on Twitter as well.
Good.
But so check that out, after the show or whatever. And
I don't see anything. I just did it on the computer, but maybe it's only on the phone. So let me try it on the phone.
And speaking of road trips,
my
app this week is a new app by Kevin Costner. He's a co-owner. And it's called Here, HearHere, which is a great name. It's a free download. It's only for iPhone, iOS. They give you 5 free stories. Then it's 20, and then it's normally like $48 a year, but they're doing a deal for $24 right now to the end of August.
Is it Kevin reading these or?
He's reading some of them. So is Phil Jackson, the ex-coach of the Lakers and Bulls.
And there's stories about places that you would be going.
Yeah, he's like right now it's only the West Coast, California, Washington, and Oregon. But they said by next year they're going to have 10,000 stories across the U.S. And right now they have 1,500 stories. And I listened to a couple, and he's on one of them, and he says he's that guy who always pulls over whenever there's a sign on the side of the road or a tribute or something. He'll pull over and read it. And so
me too.
He says he loves stories.
I'll be looking for you, Kevin, next time I'm doing that. Me too. I like to know about the history of places.
For sure. And you can actually edit the way you want it, if you want the history or if you want places to eat and things like that. So
that's really neat. There's a whole series of, and they wouldn't be as useful, well, maybe they would be, guides. A variety of companies do these. I call them GPS travel guides.
That's what this is.
Oh, so this actually ties as you drive through the place.
Yep. So it will. If you allow your location, it will pop up and say, "Here's a story." And while you're driving, you can listen.
I love that. So you could listen to them offline, but if you're in the place, you just say play. That's a great idea. There are a number of companies that do these. I know you did
one in Hawaii, the Shaka guides.
Yeah, the Shaka guides were great. Really liked them. It was like having a garrulous old uncle in your back seat who's, as you're driving by, says, that's the best shave ice in all Kauai. If you want to pull over here, hang a left. And it was like, okay, it was really fun. I really enjoyed that concept. I will be listening. It is a subscription, but you can listen for free to some of them.
Ones. Yeah, it's only iPhone. 5 free stories. After that, they're doing a deal for $24.99 for the year.
Here. It's a homophone. HEARHERE.com. Like here, what's going on here? Yes. Speaking of Hawaii, yes.
Well, as everyone probably knows, if you were planning a trip for September, I hope you postpone it because Hawaii's now said they're going to extend the quarantine till at least to October 1st. I think it's going to be longer. Excuse me. But so that means if you do go to Hawaii in September, you're going to have to quarantine in your hotel for 2 weeks. They thought if you could go now or in September, you can get a test within 72 hours and they let you travel around. That's not the case. So they've extended it. They most likely will do it again. So I would hold off. But Hawaii's talking about doing an island bubble. So if you do go to Hawaii, they're going to do like a resort bubble where they're going to work with some other resorts. Possibly. The governor hasn't.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Rolled it out. But that's what New Zealand and Australia were talking about, although that hasn't happened either. And they were going to do it with Fiji as well. But, because COVID's just still running rampant, they're not doing it.
Wow.
And Europe is actually starting to. Italy just had 1,000 cases flare up today, they said. Also Croatia, which was one places in Europe that Americans could go, and they're now have huge cases are flaring up, and now even their border countries like Slovenia and Austria are not letting Croatians in.
Wow.
Or people from Croatia.
Wow.
So stay close to home. Check out this Here app if you're on the West Coast. And, enjoy it.
Yeah. But what else are you going to do? And you canceled that flight to Florida? Your dad will miss you, I know, but... I
put it on hold, and I'm glad I did because American Airlines, every airline has to let you put a flight on hold for 24 hours for free.
Oh, good. So you didn't have a reservation. You just had a hold.
I had a reservation, although... They don't only American let you do it for free. At the other airlines, you have to put your credit card down and then cancel within 24 hours.
Well, I hope you get to go out and see your dad soon, Johnny.
I do, but I told him I might go.
JohnnyJet.com. Gotta run. JohnnyJet.com. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Professor Laura. Going to the deep AOR cuts. Little yes songs. Rio James is on the line from Escondido, California. Our next caller. Hi, Rio James.
Hi.
Welcome.
I've been listening to you for at least 21 years out of KFI.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. You sent my kids through college. You put some money into my retirement account. Bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, and so anyways, last week you were talking about attachments how they're trying to play different tricks.
Yes, they're dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got a real nice one. I got an email that says, "Thank you for your payment of $3.99.99. Attach this your statement so you can see we withdrew this from your bank."
Yeah, that's not real. Do you have anybody you paid $400 to that you know of?
No. So I said to my son, "Hey, look what I got." And so my son has access to my banking account. So sure enough, he went in there and says, "There's no $3.99. So I called in and I talked to your screener, and she said for me to just go ahead, go over there, put a check mark, and then just delete it out.
Delete it. So I'll tell you what's going on. That's called a phishing attack, with a PH, because they're phishing.
Yes.
And probably what's attached to that is you could even maybe look at it. I wouldn't even mess with it. I would delete it immediately.
I'm not going to mess with it.
But you could look at the extension. It's probably a PDF, but it might be other things. In many cases, it's harmless, I should tell you, because if it's a PDF, for instance, what they're trying to do is attack somebody who hasn't patched Windows lately, or who hasn't patched the Adobe Reader. Most people on Windows, at least until recently, used Adobe Reader to read PDFs, and there have been flaws in it. And if you don't keep it up to date, then a maliciously designed PDF file can actually take over your machine using flaws in Adobe Reader, that kind of thing. So it's not a guarantee it's going to hook you, but they send out millions of them, right? And they, is it from your bank?
No, it didn't have a bank name.
Yeah, of course not, because they don't know your bank.
But here's the whole thing. I have ID macular, and I'm 90% blind.
Yeah.
So anytime I come across anything I don't know, I call my son over.
Thank goodness you got your boy. Do you have the screen really big so that you can kind of read it?
Yeah, he bought me that iMac, the one that's the 20.
That you can zoom in on.
Inch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a friend with macular degeneration. It's gotten so bad for him, he can read one letter at a time. That big 27-inch screen only has one letter on it. But he can read one at a time, because it is, So, it's tough. I'm sorry, but at least you can kind of do it. And at least you're so lucky your son's there and he's there to help you.
Yeah.
That's really great. You're right. Your instinct was so good, Rio James. You said, I don't know. And, of course, you see the trick they play. You want $400. Oh, I want to see what that is, right?
Yeah.
Either they do that, they play on your greed. You've been around. Remember the old con games, the pigeon drop and things? This is all that, but it's online now. So the guy would drop... you'd be standing with somebody and see a wallet in the ground, and the guy says, "Hey, we could split what's in that." They pick it up, and there's $10,000 in here. We could split what's in it. And it's a whole con game, right? And they get you basically go to your bank, take out some money, and eventually they get your money and you get nothing. That's the whole idea here. These guys are doing the same kind of cons that, the old flim-flam men used to do in the old days. But they're doing them online. And they use the same tricks. The con games usually play on your greed, right? You want something for nothing, or on your fear. And that's one that the phishing guys do a lot these days digitally. They make you scared. Somebody just took out money from your bank account and from a foreign address. Was that you? And you go, what? Log in quick to your bank and make sure that this is real. Otherwise, we're going to have to pay this. And you go, what? And it's urgent. And you log in. You don't have time to call my son. I just got to do this right now. And, of course, it's not real. So whenever they play on your fear or your greed, that's when alarm bells should go off.
Yeah. So anyways, I just happen to be lucky. My son's here. He's going back to get his master's as a He's a CPA right now. He's going to get his master's in finance and data collection.
Oh, he's a good guy to keep in your back pocket there. He's going to know everything about this stuff. May I ask you? I don't want to pry. How old are you, Rio James?
17. 75, just turned 75, just retired a year ago.
What did you do?
I was a supply chain manager.
With a name like Rio James, I thought maybe you'd be a riverboat gambler or something.
No, Rio, that was my call name when I was in the Air Force. I was a high-tech guy on a 1052 computer system.
No kidding.
And I used,
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, back in the days.
Rio James, what a pleasure talking to you. Can I call you RJ?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
What a pleasure talking to you. And you know what? I'm so glad you called because you didn't get bit. But this is the kind of thing everybody needs to hear so that they think next time they get that invoice, hey, your $399.99 went through, that they think twice. They think twice.
And don't click on it.
Don't click on it. And whatever you do, don't open it. So I'm so glad your son was there to check for you. Yeah, that's nothing you should worry about. Just throw it away.
He went over to his computer, says, Dad, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
Of course, there's nothing. So I knew it was a trick.
Good man, Rio. That's so good.
Yeah.
What a pleasure to talk to you, sir. Thank you for your service.
Really appreciate you're keeping us up to date on everything.
I'm so glad you listened. Thank you.
Yes.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, The Con Game. There's a great book I highly recommend by a woman named Maria Kornikova. Not Anna Kournikova. She's the tennis player. It's Maria. I think it's Maria. Let me check. Yeah, Maria Kornikova. She same last name, but she's not. She wrote a book called The Confidence Game. That's what con is short for. And con man is a confidence artist because he preys on your confidence. I interviewed her when this came out, and it's a great book. The Confidence Game, Why We Fall for It Every Time. And it came out a couple of years ago. So a lot of what this book is about is how these con artists have taken the techniques from years gone by, and some of these hacks, some of these cons are hundreds of years old, and applied them to the modern digital world. So if you're at all interested, she's amazing. She's a great writer. In fact, her latest book, I can't wait to read it, is all about poker. She learned how to, it's called The Biggest Bluff. She learned how to play pro-grade class poker. She's super smart. How I Learned to Pay Attention, Master Myself, and Win. And she became a very successful poker pro and then wrote a book about it. She's quite a story. But her book on the confidence game is just fantastic. Highly recommended. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. Yeah, be suspicious. And remember, they're always going to play on your fears, your emotions, your greed. They're always going to play on that. That's how they get you to jump without thinking, because that's their trick, right? We don't want you to think. If you think, you'll go, wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. Wait, oh, hold on there. Are you, if it's too good to be true, it is. It is too good to be true. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy, and it's time to talk tech. High tech, 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536, toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you still can call, but you got to call, using Skype out or something like that. 8888 Ask Leo. Tech Guy Labs is the website, and that's something to keep in mind. That's a free site where you can go anytime, and anything you hear on the show, our scribe, James Ruvo, is writing that down. He'll put that up there every hour, every call, every segment, including links, techguylabs.com. No charge, no sign up, nothing. Just like the web used to be. You just go to a site and you look around and go, oh, that's nice, and then that's it. Jeff is on the line from Vancouver, Washington. Hello, Jeff.
Yes, Leo, I have just experienced the Windows Feature Experience Pack.
And what do you think?
Very good experience.
Not a good experience, huh? Yeah, they used to do these packs and you would pay a little extra, and you'd get this little stuff. So I didn't even know that they'd brought that back. And then somebody told me, we were talking about it the other day. What is in the Experience Pack?
Well, this is version 2004.
Oh, the 2004 update. And you don't like it?
Well, what happened is all my documents disappeared, all my downloads disappeared, and
oh, that's terrible.
A whole bunch of stuff disappeared.
Oh my gosh!
When I checked the about my PC, it says that I only got 17 gigs left. I remember hearing you talk about that this feature pack was a 32 gigabyte download.
Well, I was wrong, by the way. I want to correct that. It's a 4 gig download. It needs 32 gigs free space to install. So you are a little low, but it should warn you. It should say, oh, no, yeah, I don't have enough space to install that. It shouldn't just go ahead and delete stuff.
Over 50 gigs free before this upgrade, and now I only got 17.
That's normal. So there is a old Windows version folder that is the pre-install folder, and the idea is after you've been using it for a while and everything's okay, you can remove that, and that will get you much of that space back. It does not, in other words, it's not a net loss of 20 gigabytes or 30 gigabytes. It just takes that much space to churn around, and then you can delete the stuff that it leaves lying around. And it only does that for a couple of weeks just so that you have a rollback.
Yeah, I did see the rollback option.
Yeah, exactly. So this is terrible. There were rumors. I heard some bug reports, not with, I don't think it was with 2004. I think it was with 1909, the last update, that people lost data. And some of that problem was associated with external drives. Do you have some of your data on external drives, or is it all on one internal drive?
The only good thing about this is I had everything backed up on an external drive.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
But is it? Yeah, should I go ahead and roll it back to another to get that stuff back?
I don't think you're going to get it back. I don't understand why it is deleted. This is the single worst sin any update can commit, is deleting user data. That is,
all my documents are gone. And
now you're sure you're logged into the same account? This is your personal account, right?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I open up the documents folder and the downloads folder, and they're blank.
You know, last week I likened doing this kind of update to Windows while it's running as changing the engine on an airplane while it's flying, and somebody quite literal wrote me an email saying, "Oh, Leo, I can't believe you said that. You can't change the engine on an airplane while it's flying." I didn't respond, but no, I know that. That's what I'm talking about. It's a hard thing to do. I know you can't. And it's pretty hard to change your whole operating system while it's running as well. Boy, this is not typical.
It's been doing all the updates fine without any issues. Just this one, 2004, is the one that caused a big issue.
Yeah. I would say stick with it. I'm so glad you have a backup. Now you know why we say that all the time. I don't know why it happened. I don't know even if, maybe your data is somewhere, it just moved stuff around and you didn't, you can't find it.
I think it's hidden since it says on my
it sounds like it. Sounds like
160 gigabyte hard drive, and it says I only got 17 gigs left.
Yeah, it sounds like it may have actually, you might be worth a search for the, if you know one specific file name or something like that, the search to find it, just to see if it's still there, because but it's inexcusable. And the only reason I don't poo-poo it is because it happened. It was a problem with Windows, and I'm pretty sure it was in the September 2019 update, the last update, that there was data loss. We've also heard problems with people losing their login profile, their personal profile. And it could be that you have problems with a hard drive that's failing, although it's a little suspicious that it was everything in your documents folder and your downloads folder. if it's a failing hard drive, it's not going to be that orderly. It's going to be spread out across the drive. It's not like the hard drive just going to fail in that area. So that's a little suspicious. This is not a typical data loss. In fact, I haven't heard this happen with 2004 yet, although we've heard about all sorts of other problems with 2004. Part of the problem is it's very hard for Microsoft to test every possible configuration. There are 1.5 billion Windows users, and there are almost as many different hardware and software configurations as there are users. So even though they do massive public beta testing, that's the thing, everybody does that now, where they ask people, download it and try it and let us know if you're having problems. There's still going to be problems that just sneak through. In most cases, it's such a small percentage. But if you think about it, if you have 1.5 billion users, and even one user in 100,000 has problems, that's still 10,000 problems, 15,000 problems. And you got 15,000 people like you, screaming, hey, I just lost my documents folder. That's going to be you're going to hear it. That's a lot of people saying I just lost my documents folder. So, maybe it's 1 in a million. Then it's only 1,500 people, right? Even 1,000 people saying I lost my data is too many. So I don't know, Jeff. I'm glad you have a backup. I can tell you that this is not typical of 2004. But this is the other side of this. What do you get with 2004? Not much. Nothing you'd write home about. The biggest reason I can think of for upgrading to 2004 is to get the Linux subsystem for Windows, WSL. So you can run Linux on your Windows machine. And I don't think most people care about that. So on the other hand, you need to go to 2004 because eventually Microsoft will stop supporting 1909. They do that every couple of years. They're always moving forward. And so you kind of want to keep up. They expect you to keep up with the updates. So even though it's dangerous, some small percentage, but still some number of people are going to have data loss and other problems. There's not a lot of gain. I see no gain to 2004, nothing I'd write home about. You still have to do it because you can't defer it for more than a month. And eventually Microsoft's going to say, look, we're not going to support you anymore. And that's going to happen in a couple of years. So it's very frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. I understand why Microsoft does this. They want everybody to stay up to date for security reasons, but also so developers know what features they have, what they're writing, what platform they're writing to. I understand all that. 1909's end of life is May 2021, BurnTech tells me in the chat room. So if you stay at 1909, if you could figure out a way to do it, and there are ways around it, you can't really defer it for more than a month, but you can convince Windows not to update you. Still, May 2021, you'll stop getting security updates. That's not good. Next May, that's not good. So you want to do it. But what do you get? Nothing. Except a pain and some data loss. I don't know what to say. That doesn't seem like a good business plan. Some chat rooms coming up with some links you might want to check just to see if there's some way around this. I suspect your documents folder's got to be on that hard drive. If it's not, this is terrible. This is terrible. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 88. Ask Leo. Patricia's on the line in San Bernardino. Hello, Patricia.
Hello. How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. Good. I do have a question, which is why I'm here. Can you please, I'm looking for a gaming monitor for my nephew, and I don't know whether I should choose an HP or LG 24-inch.
How nice an aunt do you want to be?
I will be a good aunt. A very good answer.
How many hugs do you want to get?
A lot. I love my nephew. He's awesome. He's a good kid.
So, and how much desk space does he have?
I don't know how much.
It's a very generous gift. The good news is the monitors aren't that expensive.
Good.
The only reason I ask is HP and LG both make even bigger gaming monitors that are very popular with the gamers. They curve around you a little bit. They're 39, 49 inches. And so if you had a lot of space and you had a lot of money, actually, they're not even that expensive. They're really good choices. Both HP and LG make excellent gaming monitors. I don't think it really matters which one you get.
Oh, okay. I know. So he did say he wanted a 24-inch. He has a TV right now that is about 30 inches roughly, and he says that's too big. It hurts his eyes.
Yeah, okay, good. You're going to save some money.
Okay. That's always good. So do you think a 24-inch would be okay?
Oh, yeah. Nowadays it's a little small. But you have to respect the kid for, he could have played you. Said, Andy, I could really use a 59-inch monitor, but no, he's being honest. And so what makes a good gaming monitor is a high refresh rate, and if it says gaming monitor on it, it'll be okay. It'll have a high refresh rate, like 120 hertz, and then there's some other features like VSync support for various gaming cards and stuff like that. But if it says, this is the HP gaming monitor, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. I think LG's goes even faster. It really comes down to how big you want it to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking between 24 inches and 27 inches, which is what I see most of them come in, those sizes, around what he's wanting. I just wanted to know which would be the better one. I
think they're both good. Probably they're both LG panels. Almost certainly HP uses LG's panels. So they just put a bezel around it and brand it.
Oh, okay. Great. Okay.
Yeah. So they're probably fine. I like the LG. But I don't have a strong preference one way or the other. So if, I think, is there a price differential?
I have no idea.
It's great. They're not expensive. I'm looking at a 24-inch LG gaming monitor, $175.
And that's doable. Do you know where I would get something like that?
There's a place up in Seattle called Amazon.com.
Amazon.com.
People seem to like a lot. Amazon is easy because then you just put his address in because you don't want to have to bring it over unless you want to.
Yeah. No, I could. It would be easier just to send it directly to him.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Love listening to you. Continue the good work.
Oh, bless you. What a nice aunt you are.
Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Yeah. A little place called Amazon. It's owned by the richest man in the world. And if you go to Amazon, these days, and there's, I think, some reasonable reasons not to go to Amazon, et cetera, but honestly, it's so convenient. No wonder their stock price has gone through the roof, because it's touchless, there's no contact, and they sell everything. And so, no reason not to get it from Amazon. Now, the LG I'm looking at actually is a 2017 model, so that's going to give you the best deal, but you can also look at something more modern. 24 is kind of small, to be honest. The LG Ultra Wide, which is a 29-inch, is probably better for gaming, and that is $226, so $50 more. So, I know he said 24, but I think if it's gaming he cares about, My kid games on an Asus Predator monitor, and which of course I bought. He didn't buy it. I bought it because I wanted him to have the best, the very best. And it's widescreen and it's curved, and I'll tell you what, even if he's just playing Minecraft, it sure looks good. I think 24 sounds a little small, to be frank. Maybe it's because it's interesting. He didn't like the 30. 30's square, and that isn't really good for gaming, and it is too big if you're sitting close. But the difference is these wide monitors are not tall. They're the same height as a 24-inch. They just go wider. And for gaming, that's good because you can, it's your peripheral vision gets engaged. It's more immersive. That's what we go for with gaming. Another good place to buy that stuff, chat rooms remind me, and I do like it, is Newegg, newegg.com. The good thing about Newegg, I trust the reviews there a little bit more because those are hardcore geeks shopping there. So either one would be fine. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, your average tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. The GizWiz coming up with his gadget of the week in just a bit. Ken is on the line from Ogden, Utah. Hello, Ken.
Hello, Leo.
Hey, what's happening in Ogden?
Well, we're smoked out up here, too.
Oh, man. Oy.
Yeah, the Colorado fire is blowing all through Wyoming and into Colorado or into Utah.
Stay safe, everybody. Man, it's just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Right.
What can I do for you?
So I am a truck driver. I'm going to be starting a business from my truck.
Nice.
And a freight broker business, right?
Oh, cool.
Same genre. And initially I can do it from the truck. And until I start making the same money I'm making here, then I'll jump out of the seat. But
that's the best way to do it, right? Smooth transition, no risk. And what's amazing nowadays is you can be in a truck and running a business.
Yeah, this whole, I'm starting a website. All this stuff is just so easy nowadays.
Yeah.
I found one guy to set up my LLC, do my website design, file all my papers, all one-stop shop kind of stuff. And I'm like, wow, graphics and all. I just had to have an idea. I'm like, oh boy.
Isn't it amazing? What a world we live in.
It really is. It really is.
Yeah, and so this is I tell my kids, you got to have ambition, you got to have some gumption. But boy, the tools are out there if you can, take the bull by the horns and do it, and no better time to do it, I think.
Really, it is a good time to do it.
So, what can I do to help? I love your idea.
So I'm worried about internet connection. I'll be doing a lot of cold calling with companies and whatnot. Sales and marketing, essentially being a broker, and so I'm going to be running a TMS system. I think it's cloud-based. I'm not sure. Anyway, I have yet to buy
it is. Equipment. I can promise you. You don't want a web server in the cab with you, even in the back seat.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I would have to be server-based. Oh, yeah, that's a nightmare, right?
No, yeah.
So I'm going to initially buy a laptop, which I don't have yet. So, and then I was looking into, a long time ago, I had a modem that plugged into my laptop. And I was traveling, in an RV, and it worked pretty well. Drop stuff occasionally, but anyway,
So the best. So I was doing. You probably have some.
Doing some reviews.
Yeah, go ahead.
Some reviews, and one of the I don't know if I'm allowed to say their name. But
yes, of course.
The companies out there, Verizon. It has 750 or 730 or 750L. I'm not sure now, and a lot of bad reviews with Windows 10.
So here's what I would do. So let me give you the lowdown. You already know from doing this what kind of phone signal you're going to get in the various places you go, right? You keep an eye on that.
Yes.
You know where the dead spots are and so forth. So it's going to be the same for mobile data. You could, in theory, get it from a satellite dish, and maybe next year or the year after, if Elon Musk's Starlink really takes off, that'll be the way to go. But for now, you're going to rely on the mobile data networks from the cell phone companies.
So would a phone be, my iPhone be a good hotspot?
Yeah, you could do that if you didn't want to spend any money. But generally, what I would suggest...
Is that the same connection? Is it the same?
Yeah, although in my opinion, hotspots, for some reason, it might well be the carriers are slower than getting a dedicated device like that Verizon Jetpack you were talking about.
Okay.
The reason is a couple of reasons. One, the dedicated device you can put somewhere where it's going to have good reception, or you can even get an external antenna that you could put on top of that's what I would probably do, put on top of the cab. Because you want the best reception possible. It's just like with your phone. You can watch those bars go up and down as you're driving, right? So first of all, figure out which carrier gives you the best service coast to coast.
Verizon, hands down, across the country.
Perfect. So then you want Verizon. They have a more modern jetpack than the one you're talking about. In fact, I'm looking at a review that just came out literally 2 weeks ago in PC Magazine, the best mobile hotspots for 2020. The guy who wrote it, Sasha Segan, is very good. I trust him absolutely. He liked the Verizon Jetpack 8800L.
8800.
Yeah, there's no reason to go 5G because, as you probably already know, it's just very limited availability. Eventually, if 5G rolls out 5 years from now.
Launched, right?
Yeah. It's not even launched. So that's an unnecessary expense. 4G LTE is going to be fine. And, as long as you have a good signal, it's going to be very fast. But look at the contracts because... you're going to buy the MiFi for $100, but then you're going to have a 2-year contract with them. So make sure it gives you enough data. It's not so much speed. Speed will be one issue, but what you really care about is when is it going to slow me down? Do I get 5 gigs, 10 gigs? How much a month? How much data do I get? That's going to be the big one.
Right.
But read Sasha's article in PC Magazine because there's a lot more detail in there than I can give you, pros and cons and issues and so forth. I think a mobile hotspot is...
It was this recent issue?
Yeah, it's online, PCMag.com.
Okay. Oh, okay, gotcha. All right.
And I think the mobile hotspot, other advantage is you can have up to usually 5 devices. So your phone and your laptop can use it. You can leave it in the window or wherever you get the best reception. Remember, heat's an issue, so you don't want the sun beating down on it, but you want to put it somewhere where it's going to get good reception, and then that way the whole truck will be filled with Wi-Fi. I think that's going to be the best way to go for you. I think it's very doable, honestly.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
And I heard today you talked about like a Wi-Fi antennas.
You won't need that.
Outhouse thing.
You know what? I don't know. Have you tried to use the Wi-Fi at truck stops? They're terrible, right?
Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah.
It's like you might as well be at McDonald's. You know.
So that would be exactly. So that would be the only reason to get one of those is to get better Wi-Fi at a truck stop. And honestly, I don't think it's worth it because you're there with 12 other truckers. They're all sharing this little pipe the guy has. It's not going to make it. It's not going to be. You're going to be much happier with a hotspot. Much happier.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. And any recommendations on laptops?
I would certainly go solid state, obviously, because you're jiggling it around a bit. You don't need to go, mil-spec Panasonic Toughbook. That's not going to make a difference. You'd probably be fine with a Chromebook, honestly, and they're cheap enough that it's not the end of the world if it breaks and you pick up another one on the way. Almost everything you want to do, I think you can, unless you have some special software you run, you're doing probably everything in the web.
I'm going to be running the TMS and just using the web.
It's all in the web browser. All of it's in the web browser, which means a Chromebook is probably the best way. It's more secure. It's simpler. I think you probably do very well. And the only drawback to a Chromebook is you need an online connection, but we already know you're going to need that anyway because everything you're doing is in the web. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, this is a great project. Good luck.
Excellent. Thank you, sir.
I love it. That's thinking ahead. That's planning for your future, Ken. Well done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure. Thank you. Safe travels. Now, as hard as a time as this is for all of us, I think it's also a very good time to start a business. What? Not a restaurant. Probably not a health club. But if you pick it properly, there are clearly some sectors of the economy that are booming right now, especially in technology. There's certain things that are just business is great as the world changes. And I think while a lot of this is going to go back to normal in some 6 months or a year or whatever, some of it will change forever as we get new habits and new ways of thinking. And that's what I think, if I were going to start a business, I'd be thinking about. What's the world going to look like in a year? And that's where you aim the puck where you go where the puck's going, or something like that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Skate to where the puck is going. Disco time with Dick DeBartolo, Mad's maddest writer, and our gizmo wizard. That's why we call him the Giz Wiz. Hello, Dickie D.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, too. Thank you.
Yes. Each week, Dick, who is, by the way, Mad Magazine's maddest writer and has been for some time.
Has been? What?
He's been a has been for some time. No, he is a always is. I'm a never waser, but you're an always iser.
Oh, okay.
For 5 decades in every Mad Magazine issue, and that still holds, even though they're not doing new material. They're re-releasing old material, but you're still in it, right?
I'm still in it, going up to like 52 years.
That's so great, Dick. But in all that time, he's taken all the vast sums of money he's made. He laughs. He's made from Mad Magazine, and he's sunk it into a collection of gizmos. If you just look at his GizWiz podcast at gizwiz.tv, you'll see he's just surrounded by garbage, and that's not even the good stuff. That's all stored in a storage locker downtown.
Exactly. Well, Lee, I have something new that I did not know about.
Oh.
Now, because of your age, you'll know this is a gadget. It's a big plastic circle.
I don't like sentences that start off with "because of your age, you'll know."
Okay.
But all right.
It looks like the old Kodak carousel tree.
I do. I had a ton of those.
The big old plastic guys.
Yeah.
And I went to the warehouse just in case you didn't remember what one looked like. But the neat thing about this one, there are holes on either end of it.
Yes.
And when you pull it, it's like an accordion. It opens and you turn one side and it locks. And from a little device that's 2.5 inches high, you now have an 18-inch seat, a stool.
Why would you want to sit on a slide carousel?
No, you missed the point. It looks like a slide carousel. It is the shape and size.
But it turns into a stool that looks like a slide carousel.
Yeah, well, in a way. But if you're on a line at the post office, or you're on a line,
you carry it with you. Does it fit? But how big is the carousel? Is it pretty big?
No, it's 10 inches across.
Oh, okay.
And 2 3/4 inches high.
So it's like
it weighs
a record.
Under 3 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
It weighs under 3 pounds.
Wow.
But it opens up into an 18-inch high stool. But when you unlock it, if you have kids, you can lower it slightly. When you get to the height you want, you turn it like half a turn, and it relocks again.
How locking? Because if it doesn't really lock, I would feel like sitting on this would be a recipe for disaster.
Well, the first time I sat on it, I put a video online. When I sit on it, I am holding on to my desk.
Yeah, because
just in case I didn't lock it.
But it holds you.
But
how much will it hold?
They say 286 pounds.
So now, if you weigh 287, you should not get
you're doomed.
Yeah.
And also, there's one online, much cheaper. They run $25-26, and there are a ton of companies making them. But there's one company that's selling it for $20, and it says holds 1,000 pounds.
Wow.
Thinking,
you could put an elephant on this one.
Yeah, wow. Exactly. But I think it's a very clever idea for people who get tired of standing.
I can't stand
quickly.
anymore. As you get older, standing gets harder and harder. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it's small enough to
there's a
carry out over your shoulder or something. I mean, once
yes,
it's
and there's a
collapsed.
built-in shoulder strap and a built-in handle.
Nice.
So
you know what? I see sometimes those country gentlemen with the walking sticks, and then the top unfolds and you can sit on it.
Yes.
It's not very stable because it's one point.
And it's also very like sitting on somebody's hands.
I've never tried
sitting
it.
Area.
Sitting on somebody's hands.
Yeah. Oh well, take the subway anytime during rush hour if you want to experience that.
Okay.
But not during COVID.
You know what this looks like? Somebody's in the chat room mentioning this is true. It looks like those collapsing camp cups that you bring. They're little water mugs, tin cups that collapse, and then you open them up and you can drink.
Except they don't lock. Every one of these little hooks goes over a pin when you turn it. That last little half turn.
So it
back.
really can't collapse.
It can collapse. I mean, you would have to break every pin for it to collapse, and I think that would be really hard to do.
I like this. No,
this. I think it's very clever.
Yeah. I've been, yeah.
It's only $26, Leo.
It must be, but what I notice is there's a lot of companies making this. Like, this must be all the rage in China, is what I'm thinking.
No, I think it's one company in China who is selling it to 87 companies because they all look, all the dimensions and all the listings are the same dimensions.
Yeah.
However, some companies are making it in colors. Some companies are selling it with a little cushion on the top. So if you go to Amazon, you can look around and see the variations of it.
And the price variation, too. There's some of these are $41.
Yeah. And some of them, mine was 25, I think. But I'm very happy with it. I thought it was going to be a disaster.
Is yours a particular brand?
Yes, mine. My brand is not available, but it would have been the one to buy. Leo, mine is called the Yen Kai Cyber Celebrity Stool.
Well, it's perfect for you.
The Cyber Celebrity Stool.
If ever
That's
there
what I've
were a
been called,
cyber
the
celebrity,
stool pigeon, right?
It's you.
Yes, exactly.
So how would you find out about all this? Well, I can tell you. You go to Dick's website, gizwiz.biz, GIZWIZ.biz, and there's a big.
You remembered.
Yes, I memorized it. There's a big blue button that says I believe it's blue, that says the GizWiz visits the tech guy. You click that, and it will take you to a picture of this, and then Dick has a link to the Amazon site. You know, this seems to be very popular among ice fishermen.
Why not?
Why not?
Why not? Any place you have to sit for a long time.
Yeah.
Like the post office these days.
Do you spend a lot of time sitting at the post office?
No, I don't. I just don't go to the post office.
We had a caller last week. He said, "Did you get my book?" I said, "When did you send it?" "Oh, a couple of months ago." I said, I haven't been to the post office since March, so it's probably sitting there. I have a post office box, but I don't want to go. Now I'm thinking, you know what they do? They put a little card in there that says, "Come to the desk. We got your stuff." It's embarrassing. And then it's like a procession of mail carriers with box after box.
Oh, no. Oh, you get that much stuff?
Yeah. Most of it's junk mail still. Post office boxes, no less. You want to win a copy of Autographed Yet of Mad Magazine? See, it says, "Hi, Leo. Madly, Dick DeBartolo." This is a way to do it. If you go to gizwiz.biz and click the "What the heck is it" button, you can guess a close-up. You only have a little time left, like 8 days, 9 days, to guess the close-up of a gizmo or gadget. Guess it right or wrong, doesn't matter. You're in a drawing for I think, how many are you giving away? 18 copies of Mad Magazine?
Yeah, exactly. 6 for the right answer, 12 for wrong, silly answers.
And is it this Wonder Woman cover?
Yes, it's the Wonder Woman, yeah.
She's got the lasso of tooth. And and you're in.
I saw that movie.
Yes, I remember that one. What's fun about the new Mad Magazine is they're bringing stuff back from really old Mad magazines. So, like, here's one from 1993. This is like stuff I grew up to. So it's kind of nice. It's kind of fun.
It's interesting because I'm getting a lot of emails from people thinking they were going to hate it, but they kind of like it.
No.
Because they see stuff that they missed.
It's
Never saw that.
It's like a best of Bat Boy and Reuben
That's really early.
This is very old. I mean, it looks like a comic book. It's so old.
It is from Mad when Mad was a comic book.
Yeah, look, it's cool. Were you working for them back then?
No, I started in 1962.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was just big fan. Dick DeBartolo, GizWiz.biz. Thank you, Dickie D.
Thank you, buddy. See you next week.
Take care. I'm Leo Laporte, your tech guy. Thanks for being here. Have a great Geek Week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, TWiT. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.